My name's Maria Mahani, and this week we're using the noodle and we're going to use it to suspend the body. Often people ask me, what can I do if I'm standing in a really shallow pool? Now I am standing in chest depth water, but you could do this with even shallower water. You place the noodle in between your legs and now the legs come up off the bottom. Now the whole point of the leg action is to actually lift the legs right up towards the body and take the legs as far back as possible. Now I know you've done this, so I'm going to show you something that you might have not done with the arms, and that's to hold the noodle in one hand only and both arms sweeping across the body. Ooh. Now my secret formula is always what you do with the other hand. That palm needs to be open, those fingers need to be spread apart, fingers slightly bent so you can actually grasp the water like it's something you can hold. And we've got both arms moving across the body, palm turned in, palm turned out. Knees up high, and you're stretching the legs out as far as you can, keeping the noodle in the water. That's important. So it's not up here out of the water where it's ineffective. You want to keep the noodle in the water and stay on the spot. Stay on the spot. So what you're doing with your legs and your arms, everything has to balance out. Now, what am I feeling? All right, so definitely hamstrings. So my hamstrings are working as the leg goes from here. So as the leg is outstretched in there, it's all hamstrings till your leg goes back. There's quads as you kick the leg to the front, but it's more hamstrings. You feel it more to the back of the leg for this one. Now, there's a lot of abdominals as my body tries to stabilize while the arms are moving across the body. There's definitely a lot of work with the arm that's not holding the noodle, and you want that arm to be creating most of the turbulence. The arm that's holding the noodle is really sort of just guiding the noodle through the water, but you feel it as you pull out. So when everything goes across the body, that's where you feel it the most, as the noodle moves to the side, not as the noodle comes in. All right, so of course when you've done that, when you perform this with the right hand, you switch over to your left hand and you make sure you do the same thing. Now, it's so weird when you switch hands, how your coordination can sometimes go completely out the window. Whew. But legs are open, your heart rate will climb, because this is such an energetic movement pattern. It's really energetic. You're kicking your legs right out, sweeping the arms across the body, and it's an amazing abdominal torso workout. So I'm not just feeling it to the front, I'm also feeling the engagement of the muscles towards the back of my body, which is great because it's really working that entire midsection torso, right? So easy exercise to do in any depth pool. You can go shallow, you can go deep. Challenging because you've got to get the hands moving, and did you see my hands? So make sure your clients are doing that too. They're pushing against the water, turn their palm. You want to see that level of turbulence. And if you tell them, you'll feel this in your abdominals as long as you can get that big sweeping motion across your body, you know that they'll nail it. And that is this week's Aqua Tip. This noodle activity where your legs are up off the bottom of the pool is probably best demonstrated in a chair. The aqua frame is a little tricky because you've got to try and keep the noodle in between your legs, but you're trying to hold yourself up, so I wouldn't recommend the aqua frame for this. The chair is probably ideal. And the thing is, the noodle's actually not going to be between your legs if you sit down because, my friends, this is rather uncomfortable. I don't know too many people would find this very comfortable. So I pop the noodle underneath the chair. So the noodle's coming up here. Looks like I've got the noodle between my legs, but it's actually going underneath the chair. And you're holding the noodle with one hand, right? So now you demonstrate the cross-country ski in the chair. Okay, so from here to there, and then you can add the arm action and sweep the arms across the body. You could even demonstrate it side on. It's a little bit more awkward, yep, so that they can sort of see what you're getting them to do. Now, what I think is really important here is telling them where they need to feel this, because when you identify that, then they understand with a little bit more clarity about what it is that you're trying to achieve. So remember these three muscle groups. So they need to feel this in their hamstrings. So the leg needs to kick out in front, but when you kick back, it's definitely a hamstring exercise. They want to also feel this in their abdominals, and that's got a lot to do with how much of a sweep action that they have in front of the body, but also the length of arm action. So if they've got their arms in here, they won't feel so much with their abdominals. Take the hand and the noodle further away from the body, they're going to feel a lot more in their abdominals. And then finally, it's the free hand that's going to do most of the work, as it's dragging through the water. So demonstrate that they've got to keep those fingers open and both arms go together across the torso. You won't need to really communicate which way the noodle needs to go in regards to the legs, because doing it this way and doing it that way is virtually impossible. So you won't need to communicate that. And I think it's important that as an instructor, you're communicating things that are relevant to the people in the pool. So on the chair, so you're sweeping both arms across the body, asking them to do a really bent knee cross-country ski, which is easy to demonstrate in the chair since you do have to bend your knees to be here. And also pass the noodle underneath the chair so that you don't feel like, well, you don't want to make your life too uncomfortable as an aqua instructor. And that is this week's aqua tip.